Hey, this is Tim of the 1916 Company at Watches and Wonders 2025. We are at Ulysse Nardin. Everything is new for 2025. We're going to be taking a look at the novelty for this year, the big piece, and we're going to talk to Matthieu Haverlan, General Manager of Ulysse Nardin. Matthieu, thanks so much for having us.
Tim, thank you so much for paying a visit.
It's always good to catch up, and it's always best when we catch up over some hardware. So let's talk first about the watch and what's new on that front, because nautical themes have a big part in UN's history, and in the modern era of the company, so do dive watches.
Yes, I think, UN is a contemporary and there is also a sporty element in the brand. And actually, we've been working 5 years on that product. And 5 years ago, we had the idea of creating or trying to create the ultimate high horology sport watch. And we agreed internally that there is 3 ultimate challenges. Number 1 is lightness, making a watch light, if possible ultra light, yet super comfortable. Number 2 is robustness, making a watch that can survive deep diving, rugged use. And number 3, because we are Ulysse Nardin high horology, combining a beautiful artistry with incredible watchmaking. So then we said, okay, what should be the KPIs? Lightness, we'd love to hit 50 grams. Robustness, we do dive watches. We've done the first waterproof, timekeeping instruments back in 1893, having the marine date chronometer in a aluminum capsule. Obviously, the first dive watch in the 60s, so we've got a legitimacy in dive watches, and we said, okay, it must be a diver. So 200 meters needs to be the mark. And then our watches are robust in general, especially the entry level with simple movement, if I may say, like the 118 caliber and the Diver 44. That watch resists to 5,000 G. So we wanted also to hit that. So that was basically the roadmap, and we've been following that, and we managed to create a watch that is 52 grams, including the strap. It's a dive watch. You can dive to 200 meters. It can withstand 5,000 Gs. That's about the swing of a pro golfer. And as a matter of fact, that's the lightest mechanical dive watch ever made. But more than that, we wanted to create the ultimate high horology sport watch, and that's what is the Diver Air.
So this is one of those watches that almost feels too light to be true. So you actually count the strap, which is 6 grams, and then the watch itself is 46.
46. The caliber, made entirely in titanium, is 10 grams. If you remove the rotor, is 3 grams. So if you remove the rotor, it's 7 grams for the rest of the caliber. We've tried to gain weight everywhere we could. We even managed to, from the silicone escapement, so we've got the oversized silicone balance wheel, we've got the silicone air spring, we've got the silicone escapement wheel, we've got the silicone anchor, and we managed to remove 0.05 grams from the same escapement that you have in the Freak-X, for instance.
From an ion-etched part.
Yes.
That's very impressive. Now, let's take a look at the big piece. Do you mind?
Of course.
Because I think people need to see this to believe it. It's a lot of fun. It is 44 millimeters, but I know it's almost a cliche that this is a big watch that wears small, but when it's this light, it kind of really does.
Honestly, we spend a lot of time on the wearability. You will also see that the movement is really on the edge of the case, because we've developed first the movement and then we developed the case. And so here it is. So I think at a first glance, for me, it's a very sexy watch. I love it. It's very pleasing to see. You've got a very good balance in the architecture of the skeletonization. There is brands that say, yeah, my watch is skeletonized when they actually do an open work job on the dial, or sometimes they try to remove really part from a movement which is not skeletonized. Here, we started from scratch, designing the movement being skeletonized, and then building the spare parts.
So let's talk about the materials that are used here. So the balance wheel is a combination of white gold and silicon. The escapement is silicon. That's both the anchor and the wheel. The hairspring is silicon. Most of the bridges and plates are going to be titanium. Then you've got carbon fiber infill within the bezel. You've got a titanium inner cage and bezel, and that's 90% recycled. And then we have this unique composite of nylon and carbon fiber as the blades on the side. Tell me a little bit about that, because that's an interesting kind of mixture.
No, yes, so first of all, titanium plays a big part because it's the best material that for us has a ratio of lightness versus robustness. At some point, we really wanted to be extreme and maybe to try to see if some component could be made in aluminum, but we had to compromise on the 5000G, or even on the water resistant, because the water resistant, 200 meters below sea level is an equivalent of 170 kilograms of pressure on the sapphire glass. So titanium was really the way to go forward. The difficulty is you can make quite easily a case in titanium, but to make very small component in titanium is very difficult because it has a tendency of catching fire. So if I had to compare, manufacturing a case in titanium is kindergarten. This is really Champions League level. Very difficult. So we managed to do it. This is for the caliber. Then we've got titanium for the middle part of the case because for the water resistance. If we wanted to use for the middle part carbon, it would not be waterproof to 200 meters. Then you've got the carbon fiber that you mentioned, so it's a carbonium. This time what we are using is a carbonium coming from the foil of the IMOCA boats. They are the fastest selling boats on the planet. They are the one doing the Vendée Globe, and they've got foils in carbon, on the side of the boat, so that when they've got enough speed, they are above the water and they get additional speed. So that's why
hydrofoiling. Yes.
When they manufacture that, there is some leftover of carbonium. This is a carbonium that we use for the bezel and for 40% of the Nylo-Foil. The other 60% is Nylo, so it's basically ocean netting that we get back from the sea. The main goal at the end is to make a superior product and a superior material. Obviously, if we can raise awareness on a good cause, it's even better. And because we have a strong root with oceans, we are concerned by the pollution of the oceans. They are full of plastics and microparticles. So we've worked with a startup to get some plastics coming from the fish nets, convert them into a powder, mix it with carbon, and here we go, you've got the Nylo-Foil.
That's really cool, and I think it's awesome that you kind of follow with the ecological side of things, because I know as an American, you tell an American, well, this is an ecological solution, the guys can be like, shut up. Americans love their trucks, they love their V8s, they love their horsepower, they love their guns, all these things that Americans love. You lead with lightness, shock resistance, water resistance, durability, and real history, and people fall in love. Then you say, but it's also sustainable. And people are like, you know what, that's cool.
But sustainable for a bigger purpose. The purpose is not to make the most sustainable watch. It's to make the best product with the objective of making the ultimate high horology product. If on top of that we can have a story which is authentic about UN, even better, right? We have not used my jacket or a part of my t-shirt to make the case. Okay?
In the parlance of our times, these are merit-based materials.
Yes.
Okay. Now this is a very cool watch, and I think I'm actually going to show it on my wrist because my wrist is fairly familiar online. We'll talk a little bit more about the watch and actually this really cool booth we're in just a moment. But I'm going to throw that on my wrist. The strap's nice because it's a Velcro type, and when you've got Velcro, you don't realize that you can have a big infinity or a small infinity, but within the range of adjustment that you get with a Velcro strap, you've got infinite adjustability. So if you need to make a small incremental change, you can do that, whereas you might get stuck in between links on a bracelet or be between perforations on a regular strap. So this is a very cool type of fixture that always gets the feel right, and it's even got a little bit of elastic to it.
It is, because we want that, to be one of my friends skydived, 5 days ago with that. We have also Mike Hoots. Mike Hoots is a professional surfer. He's a shark advocate. He's been eaten. His leg has been, eaten by a shark when he was 18 years old. He knocked the tiger shark, swam back to the shore, and he's one of the biggest shark protectors on the planet at the same time. And he's a professional surfer.
And he fought off a shark, so man, that guy's a dude.
Yes, and he's very close to the brand. He's been wearing our diving watches for many times, for many years, and he's been trying on, this diver air. So it went into the water, it went in the air. I've been golfing a lot with the prototype. I've been punching the G-Force punching ball in the middle part of the booth, 100 of times. And it's still, tic-tac.
So you're comfortable saying this can withstand most amateur sports, tennis, golf, that sort of thing?
Yes, absolutely.
That's bold.
Absolutely.
Now that's really cool too, because it is, this is look, when you say something is freakish at Ulysse Nardin, it's usually in reference to a different watch, but this is freakishly light. And it's almost like one of those watches where you're like, you got to look to see that it's still on your wrist and you think you lost it. So a lot of fun, a lot of capability, a really nice 120 click bezel. I'm trying to get that on my mic here.
I like the sound too.
You know, with the chronograph, people want to know how's the pusher feel. With the dive watch, people want to know how's the bezel feel. Is that like a consideration when you're developing a dive watch? How does the bezel feel?
So, I mean, feeling plays a big part. So the sound, the fact that there is almost no, you know, sometimes in diving watches you have a bit of a
play or wobble.
Play.
Yeah.
We wanted to have almost no play, but also the way it feels on the wrist. So we try to take the sense into account, the wearability, the sound, and how it feels on the wrist overall.
I also have to say that all things considered, it's a 44, but I'd say just subjectively it feels more like maybe a 42. The lugs are nice, short, they're kind of stubby. It doesn't have big, broad wings. It doesn't feel like an albatross on the wrist. It's a really cool look. I have to say for a prototype, this is remarkably well finished. You can see all the fun parts, the motion works that guide the hands, the keyless works that engages the clutch and allows winding and setting. It's all there. But I think the most intriguing thing for fans of this channel certainly is going to be the technology. Silicon is a Ulysse Nardin sort of original, and you control that technology. Talk a bit about that, because almost everyone else buys it from a third party.
So, you know, today silicon is what we use in microchips, right? It's an advanced material that we use in microchips, and UN pioneered that, you know, almost 25 years ago in watchmaking with the Freak in 2001, making a improve. You know, type of escapement, working with lighter components, with more precision and less friction to operate. And we co-founded in the early 2000s the company called Sigatech. Sigatech has been a pioneer in manufacturing component in silicon, mainly for the watchmaking industry, but not only. And so today we manufacture the hairspring, the balance wheel, the escapement wheel, and also the anchor, all in silicon. We also have another technology called diamond seal. You don't have diamond seal in this one, but where we add a coating of diamond on top of silicone to make it even stronger. So yeah, silicone play a big part in the history, at least in the modern history of Ulysse Nardin, I would say.
So a really cool piece. If people want to learn more, where do they find you?
I mean, they're going to find information on the website, obviously, on the Instagram of the brand.
Definitely check that out.
Yes, I mean, you know, since yesterday, I've got a lot of people, you know, asking me directly questions about the watch on my Instagram. So, you know, I'm answering all the questions. Sorry if I'm a bit delayed, you know, because of the watches and wonder, but I would be happy to answer them all. And yes, that's about that. It's retailing at 36,000 Swiss francs. We're going to produce only 270 pieces this year.
Okay.
Yeah, love it.
What does availability look like? Is it available now, next week, this month, next
yes,
month?
At the end of April, we'll be delivering the first watches.
Very, very cool. So, sort of segueing from the watch to, I mean, we're talking about the box that the watch came in. This is a very, very, very big box. Tell me a little bit about the exhibition here at Watches and Wonders, because I like to think it's a little bit of a taste of things to come at Ulysse Nardin. How did we get here?
You know, we are the oldest watchmaking startup, right? We are definitely, for me, the startup company or the tech company within the watchmaking industry, but from the very beginning. You know, on the booth, you'll see on the outside of the studio, there is a quote. That quote says, "If it's possible, it's done. If it's impossible, it will be done." That is not coming from Elon or Jeff Bezos, right? It's coming from a watchmaker 150 years ago, and his name is Paul David Nardin. He's the son of Ulysse Nardin. So the pioneering spirit of the company has been here from the very beginning. Now, my job is to make sure that we convey that advancement of watchmaking, that pioneering spirit, through all the product range, whether it's a Freak, whether it's you know, diver for the sport watch. And so the role of the Dive collection is to be that pioneering high horology sport watch, and the Diver Air sits at the pinnacle, I would say, of it. So Diver Air stands for high horology, high tech, high performance, and I think this is what this booth is all about.
A lot of fun, and I got to say, very forward-looking, because I have been shooting in some booths here at Watches and Wonders that were a little bit like caves. And look, my guys are heroic behind the camera, but you can only do so much with that. This is a dedicated created space here at the Ulysse Nardin booth. They've got acoustic insulation, they've got substantial floor space, the lighting is professionally engineered. This is like coming home, this is easy. So that is part of like that forward-looking vision. Embrace social media and make it possible for creators to actually work in the space right now. Now out here, I have to admit, this doesn't necessarily feel like the Ulysse Nardin of 2 to 4 years ago. Where does this aesthetic come from? What were your inspirations for all this?
Honestly, I mean, we've changed. Our CMO, Chief Marketing Officer, said to me that she was leaving the company in November. And I really reflected on that, and I decided not to replace her, to really do the marketing and communication myself. You know, if you want to teach others how to do it, you need to do it yourself first. And so I said, okay, now for the months you still have to do in the company, take care of everything, all the ongoing things, except Watches and Wonder. That's going to be my project. And I realized, beginning of November, that what was meant to be done was not bad, but far from that. And I said to myself, you know what? We have small chances to succeed, but we're going to start from a blank page. What does the brand stand for? What does the Dive collection stand for? And what does the Diver Air stand for? And once you know what the product stands for and the brand stands for, you design content and you design a booth around it. So in terms of design, honestly, I was inspired by Apple, tech, Nike, sports, but more the Nike, Nike Town stores.
A concept store.
Concept stores, and I like the vibe in terms of design of Rimowa, the luggage, that kind of, you've got a lot of steel brush, and you put that in a shaker with a focus on content, and this is what you have.
And it's very cool. It's like, we've got a lot of establishment brands around here, and some of them have complained about the noise. So, if they claim to be disruptors, it's working out so far. They're doing everything right.
And sorry if you guys are hearing a bit of noise, because we've got Burak, he's one of the top 60 DJ, in the world. He's literally mixing right now, like 5 meters away. So thank God this is, soundproof. But this is also part of creating a sense of community. We want people at the end of the day to relax, to have a drink, to enjoy, and have a bit of fun.
And how do you extend that past the show? Because the show runs for a week. It's an incredible setup. You can't sustain this 365 days a year. So what do you do to sort of build community around the brand? Events locally? Is it some sort of social media engagement? How do you keep this momentum up?
I think there is a always on social media through my account. And through the account of some of my team members, to make sure that I'm not the only one doing the job engaging with collectors. And then there is a lot of small offline get-togethers. When I last visited you in Philadelphia a couple of months ago, even less, we did the video together, and I had a couple of dinners, with Tim, Kate.
Oh, I know. I was getting wrist shots from that.
Rob, etc., etc. So we really had a great time. So it's really more of that. It doesn't have to be. This time was really a good setup. Tim did a good job, but even like beer, burgers, 10 whether you are a client or not, actually of Ulysse Nardin. And we just talk about watches. And this is why for me, when we recruit and also teach the team, I want to recruit salespeople and marketing people that love watchmaking. One of the questions that I always ask in interview is, what do you have in your collection? What do you collect? Why do you like watches? If you're not a watch guy or a watch girl, I'm not sure UN is for you.
I like that. Basically put up or shut up, show that you're a lifer before you sign on. So 2 final questions, one easy. Where can people find your personal Instagram? People know where to find Ulysse Nardin. What is your personal Instagram?
It's, Matthieu, Matthieu, .Haverlan, Haverlan, on IG. So first name, family name, and you'll find me.
And then what is the top challenge you face building Ulysse Nardin around the world this year, 2025?
I think the main challenge is to really stay focused on a few things, because we've got a lot of projects, and I want to make sure that we are really driving, just a few things, but to do it right. And that's why, for instance, we spend a lot of money being at Watch and Wonder to just launch one watch at 36,000 Swiss francs that we're going to produce only 270 times this year. So if you think about that, it's a lot of money, for just a watch, but that's the level of focus that we need to have, impact.
Yes, and I agree with that. I mean, for those of you who are not part of the scene, being in the halls versus in, I don't know, a hotel suite outside in the town, a huge delta in terms of complexity, cost, setup time. That's a big commitment to actually be here inside the show as opposed to on the periphery of the show. So Matthieu, thank you so much.
Tim, thank you so much. Let's have a drink.
I like it. Cheers.
Cheers.